Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Jenny. How
Wait a second.
I'm good.
Andre Drummond, Lakers savior, got dominated by Rudy Gobert at Staples Center last night. How do you explain?
He missed some easy ones. Skip.
He missed some easy ones. The big penguin was a big disappointment.
I mean, yeah, for me,
you got to be scared to death about this. No.
Helped on the way.
Wait, Drummond got beaten like a drum?
Okay, help is on the way.
Oh, it's interesting. That's what you want to talk about, Skip, because there's someone else who had a pretty incredible performance, and his name is Steph Curry. I saw you both had plenty to say on social media. Let's talk about it, because Curry continued his hot streak in Philly last night. He followed up his 47-point game against the Celtics with 49 points and 10 three-pointers in a 107-96 win over Joel Embiid and the 76ers. Curry's performance was, quote, mind-boggling, according to Steve Kerr. And Steph got Twitter buzzing all night about his MVP case, including Magic Johnson, who said Steph left no doubt who the real MVP is tonight. So, Shannon, is Magic right here?
No. And Skip, there are very few things that's non-debatable in sports. We can debate everything from boxing to tennis to golf to track and field, basketball, baseball. But there's one thing that's non-debatable. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter. There's no debating that. I think everybody that's universally recognized now, that's not even a conversation anymore. It used to be, well, this guy can shoot back in the day and that guy can shoot. But I think he's putting that over the last couple of years, and especially what he's gone through this year, the way he's shooting the ball, I think we can put that to bed now. Skip, and I get it. We've seen guys score. We just saw James Harden have 2 years, Skip. That was sensational. We saw Kobe in 2005, 2006 when he was on that hit 62 points in 3 quarters, had 81 in the ball game. Mm-hmm. We've seen Jordan go, but none of them shot the ball from distance like this. And to do it on a nightly basis, Skip, it's almost like you go into the game, if they get Foxbet put a prop up 10 or more threes, I'm taking over. Yep. I'm going, worst case scenario, I'm going to push it.
Yep.
But, Skip, you can't give a guy an MVP that's in the 9th spot. Skip, and the only reason we're talking about this is to play in.
Yep.
With no play in, I mean, come on, what are we doing now? I get it. He's been phenomenal.
Yep.
The 47, I'm disappointed in him last night because I just knew Skip, he was going to make these 2 free throws. They fired us and said, oh, yeah, 50 piece. And he missed the front end and gets 49. But, Skip, he's not the MVP. He's unbelievable. But you can't give a guy that's in the 9th slot. Because so where does it stop, Skip? Pretty soon, if you just take a guy that's having a sensational season and says, okay, he's doing this, no matter where he is, he's got to be the MVP. And you can't do that. If he played 82 games, and this is about 46 wins, but 46 wins and you're in the 8th spot, you're in the 9th spot, you're giving someone the MVP because they have a sensational, and he's been sensational. I don't want to minimize what he's actually doing, because just when you thought Steph couldn't play any better, he couldn't shoot any better than what we've seen or grown accustomed to, he's doing it over the last stretch of games.
Yep.
But, Skip, that's not the MVP. And I get it. This is an unprecedented season because a lot of the guys that were in the MVP discussion has gotten hurt.
Yep.
The season has been very, very condensed.
Yep.
And so it's brought a lot of people into the MVP mix, Skip, that probably wouldn't be there had this been a normal season under normal circumstances.
True.
But because this is not a normal season, under normal circumstances, we get a lot of guys in the mix. But are we going to just discount what Joke did last night? 47, 15, and 8. They were down by 12 with under 4 minutes to go, and he brought them back?
Double overtime.
So are we just going to discount that? Steph has been unbelievable, Skip. He has. But at 22 and 28, Skip, he's averaging 40 in the month of April. But I just don't know how you give a guy with that record, team record, because this is a team, and he's been sensational again. But I just don't know how you give a guy with a 28 and 22 record the MVP in the league. So, so this 50 games, so they got 22 games left? Well, no, they don't have that many because he's won it because they 14 games left. Yep. So he's got to go. No, Skip, because what do you think they go? Best case scenario, 35, and 37, 35?
I will say this. That game last night at Philly, that was their toughest remaining game. The rest get somewhat easier than that one.
Right.
Okay?
But, Skip, it's hard. And, look, That was Philly. That was a national televised game. It's hard to bring that level of intensity over the next 14 games when it's not going to be Philly. If you're not careful, Skip, some of these teams that got nothing to play for, they'll slip up and bite you, and we've seen that happen. We just saw what happened with Boston last night. Boston was on this great tear, and the Bulls come in there and beat the brakes off them.
Okay, I got it. So, to continue on with your point, 14 games remaining. Let's just do the hypothetical.
Right.
Let's say he stays right on this pace for 14 more games.
Okay.
I think at some point, about 12 games into those 14, we're going to sit back one morning and say, well, time out. He's right in the thick of this. Mm-hmm. But 6 games in April, I think I coined the phrase back on my cold pizza days of prisoner of the moment.
Right.
Well, I can't be a prisoner of 6 games in April or 10 games in April, however you want to look at it.
Right.
The month of April, no one has ever shot the ball we're close to this, not even remotely close to this over a stretch in any single month of anybody's career, ever.
No.
He's made 54 three-point shots in the last 6 games. It's off the charts. In 4 of the last 5, he's gone 10+. And by the way, the most astounding stat is that he's got 21 10+ three-point games in his career. Next on the list all time is Clay at 5.
Hey, Steph got 4 in this month.
I think he's got 6 this month.
He got 6 this month?
He's got 6, which is had more this month than Clay, second place, has had for his career.
If you combine the next guys on the list, they don't have as many as Steph.
Okay, so if we want to do the all-time MVP of the month of April, Steph just won it. I'll give you that. Because this is impossibly, utterly great.
Yes.
Steph has always led the league in oohs and ahs.
Yes.
Because last night was an ooh and ah game because he went 1 for 8 in the third quarter, and I thought, this is going to be a game. Right. Now, remember, let's have some context here. Philly is without Ben Simmons last night, who had some kind of stomach ache. They said it was non-COVID, but he was ill.
Right.
So he's out, and he is at least a Defensive Player of the Year candidate who would have made it harder on Steph because he can guard 1 through 5. So they would have used Ben to double him a lot on the perimeter, especially in the fourth quarter. He'd be jumping out to bother Steph at 6'10". Okay, so there's no Ben, and there's no Tobias Harris, who is the second best scorer on this team to me, to Embiid. So it's Embiid versus Steph, and obviously Steph doesn't have Clay or KD for that matter. But the point is, I thought it was going to be a shootout in the fourth quarter with Embiid versus Steph, and Steph just took the game over.
He did.
He has a built-in motivation in that his little brother is playing for the other team. And remember, Doc is the father-in-law of Seth.
Seth, man, Doc's daughter.
Okay, so I'll get this right. So Steph's sister, he visited yesterday in a family reunion featuring, it was the day before, with Doc and brother.
Right.
Okay, so it's quite a family affair, but Steph rises to the occasion against brother.
You ain't supposed to do little brother like that.
Okay, well, you know how that goes, right?
I do.
Okay, but he really rose and shone in the fourth quarter. If Steph Curry is going to make 5 out of 5 three-point shots in fourth quarters, it's just game over.
Yeah.
5. It's too many. If you make 5 in a game, it's got impact. But 5 in the fourth quarter.
He had 20 points in the fourth.
Well, then you're going to win, and they did.
Yeah, in a close ball game, he gonna blow it open.
I thought Embiid played pretty well, but they were triple teaming him every time.
They did a great job in the fourth quarter, Skip. They brought the double. Either Draymond, Kevon Looney, everybody, they was getting the ball out of his hand, and even if he attempted a shot, it was a very difficult shot. They said, you're not gonna beat us.
He was having a hard time even putting the ball on the floor.
Correct.
He did have 8 assists, which I was proud of him for, because he finally just said, okay, if I can't do it, somebody's got to be open. Yes. Okay, so we get that. Now, let's go biggest picture here. This is just April. This hot stretch, a hot stretch unlike any we've ever seen, has only occurred over the last 6 games. But if we look hard at what happened to this team before April came, they came into April at 23-24. Is that great?
Right.
Right now, they're a 500 team. Is that great? To your point, they're sitting in the 9th spot.
Right.
Okay? if they could continue to stay on fire thanks to him, and let's say he rallies them all the way up to the 6th spot where they even missed the play-in tournament, right?
Right.
And remember, Dame's not playing right now. He pulled his hamstring. Seems like everybody's pulled their hamstring.
That condensed package, that wear and tear every night.
I got it. So I don't know what's going to happen to Portland, but they're sitting right now in the 6th spot, and they're 4 games up on Golden State. Well, what if Steph led them into the 6th spot? Well, then you'd start having a conversation.
we have the conversation. Yes, absolutely.
All right, but here's what Steph was doing before April started. He was making 40.9% of his three-point shots, okay? So that was a career low. If that had stayed on pace for the whole year, that would be a career low for him from 3. Think about that.
Everybody else would take 40% from 3.
Okay, they would, but this is the most extraordinary shooter we've ever seen. So remember, his career average from 3 is 43.4. So he was at 40.9. So he
basically
was
41%.
Yeah, he's basically 2.5 points under his career average.
Right.
Okay, now he's up to 43.1 with this hot streak. Okay, that's still below his career average, and that ranks 13th of the 160 qualified three-point shooters. So if we're talking about MVP, if you do the big picture of what happened for the whole season, which you got to have a body of work, right?
Exactly.
Okay, he ranks 13th in three-point shooting in the NBA right now. Just for perspective, Joe Ingles, who I watched drill your team last night, he's making 49% of his threes for the whole year.
He's ridiculous.
Okay, that's ridiculous, but they're just bombs away. That's all they do is jack up threes. Okay, Marcus Morris of the Clippers, who lead as a team, they're shooting 42.1%, so they're only 1 point off Steph's overall for the year as a team, just to keep that in perspective. He's second at 48.1, and then Joe Harris, who we know can really shoot the 3, is third in the league at 47.7. I'm just trying to give you perspective.
Right.
Steph's down at 13th in three-point shooting, and that's with the hot streak.
Right. Skip, I'm not looking at it from that perspective, because I look at it like this, Skip. They're not shooting the volume. Steph Curry's going 10 of 17. He's going 11 of 19 from the 3. Now, it'll be interesting to see if those other 3 guys that are in front of him shot the volume of threes, would they still maintain? Because if Joe Ingles shot 49% from the 3, with the volume that Steph is shooting, he'd be averaging 40 a night. So that might come into play. We hear all these old timers say,
could argue.
If I played now, I'd be averaging 45, 50 points a game. Skip, like you said, the season did start in December.
It did.
It did. I mean, did they play games in January, February, March? So we're just going to take, we're going to take a 10-game stretch and say he's going to be the MVP and just disregard everything that he done up until that point. Okay. And we're just going to wipe away what Joel Embiid, wipe away what Nikola Jokic has done. No.
Okay. So just for perspective, I don't want to rain on everybody's parade, but I want to remind everyone, and you can take this or leave it, but these are facts. I'm not exaggerating or making any of these up. I'm going to give you quickly 8 performances by Steph Curry before the month of April started from the three-point line. If you want the dates, I'll give you the dates, but it'll get in the way. So I'm just going to read you. These are 8 games of three-point shooting for Steph. 1 for 11, 1 for 10, 1 for 8, 1 for 6, 2 for 11, 2 for 10, 2 for 10, 2 for 9. Those are 8 games that he played before April started.
Right.
Are those good? No, they're not. They're pretty terrible, which is why he was on pace to be a career low 40-odd% three-point shooter this year. And all of a sudden, everybody's gone completely over the edge into there's the MVP.
Right.
Okay? If it's a synonym for there's the greatest shooter we've ever seen, I give you that.
I give you that. No question.
Right?
Yeah, that's not even debatable.
Okay, but it doesn't work for MVP.
Correct.
Because the team is 500.
Right.
Well, why should, and again, the team's not very good, but it's not awful either.
Right.
Because to me, you look at what he has around him. Draymond's still there, right?
Right.
And Kevon Looney has won a couple of rings in his time.
Right.
And who else is there? What's his name?
Those really the only guys that are there that was, a part of the big.
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, he's pretty good.
He comes and goes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I just know for me is that, and I get it. Like you said, the prisoner of the moment. You see what he's doing, and you're in awe. But you got to remember now, there are stretches of games in March, in February, in January that he wasn't performing like this. And think about what he's doing. He's doing this, Skip, and they're only 2 games above 500.
Okay. All right. As late as March 11th, I'm going to note this, just for the record. At Clippers, he lost 130 to 104. He scored 14 points in 27 minutes and went 1 for 8 from 3. Mm-hmm. Is that the MVP? No, you wouldn't say then. The Clippers have dominated Steph this year in 3 games, although Steph was on the floor when they pulled off a 20-point comeback. They were down 20 late in the third quarter at Golden State and came all the way back on January the 8th to embarrass the Clippers.
Right.
That's why they needed Rondo, to me. But even in that game, Steph scored only 5 in the fourth quarter and was no real big factor. Mm-hmm. But against the Clippers so far this year, he's averaged 22, 3 rebounds and 6 assists. He shot 39% from 3. Okay. So again, if he could, let's just do this. If Steph could shoot them into the 6th spot, if he could just stay on this tear, which is almost impossible. Right. And they rose up and replaced the Trailblazers in the 6th spot, and they played the Clippers in the first round. And he could turn it around against the Clippers and just shoot them off the floor the way Denver did in the last 3 games last year. Well, then you start having a conversation about that's that guy. Yeah, then we'd start ranking him all time.
Well, yeah, Skip, if he could somehow get them to the 4th or the 5th seed, Skip, because if we look at Russ, remember when Russ had that triple-double season? Yep. He was the 4th seed. Well, okay, fine. But were they going to give Russ the MVP?
But we hadn't seen that.
Right.
Since Oscar in 63.
But I don't believe Russ would have got the MVP if he had been the 8th seed, even if we had never seen it before.
I mean, it was close to not being MVP at the 4th seed.
I mean, but we just saw James Harden last year go average 36.
Yep.
And we saw James Harden have multiple months where he had average 40. Or at least 1 month, and James Harden was getting 40, 50-point triple-doubles. So I don't want to get caught up in the okay, yeah, Steph is the greatest shooter that we've ever laid eyes on. Yep. He's having an unbelievable April. Yes. And this is the best April. Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody's always had the best November, the best December, the best. Somebody's always had the best month, Skip.
Yep.
But we've never seen anybody shoot the ball like this from distance over this length of time.
Okay.
But that's not envy just because you're doing. Skip, I don't like to say because he's doing something nobody else has ever done, that's the MVP. I like to look at it in its totality.
You have to.
In 2 games over 500, in the 9th spot, is not MVP to me.
Well, they're 500, aren't they?
I mean, what
they're even 500.
Yeah, 500. My bad. Yeah. No. They're 20. I was reading Skip. They're 20 and 22 in games which he's played. They're 500.
Okay. So now he's the first player in NBA history over 33 years of age to score 30-plus in 11 straight games that eclipsed the Kobe mark.
Right.
Okay. The one thing that impresses me the most about Steph right now at 33 is he has changed his physique. Do you remember the skinny little kid out of Davidson? Who for the first 3 or 4 years remained the skinny little kid out of Davidson.
The basketball weighed half as much as he did.
Hey, it did. Now he looks good to me. He's stouter. He has put on weight room muscle. Mm-hmm. If you look at him, he's got a man body now, and it helps him take the beating and the grind of it because he does take punishment.
Oh, yeah, Skip, the most impressive thing to me that Steph Curry does is that his condition. To be able to run as much as he does, Skip, he's not conserving energy, but to run as much as he does and to shoot the ball with the accuracy. We all know we've been tired. I've been tired on the football field. It's hard to get in and out of those routes.
Remember the old cliche from Lombardi? Yeah. Fatigue makes cowards of us all.
Skip, and he's running the exact same in the fourth quarter as he is in the first quarter or the first half. And to get that shot off, and I knew once George Hill got on him, I said, he about to dance on you, bro.
Yeah.
But I don't know why.
George was fresh. You know?
Skip, I don't know why they didn't do what the Warriors was doing to Joel Embiid. Sending 2 at it. But Skip, it got to the point he saw it coming and started jacking it up from 30.
He did.
Well, you can't do anything about that.
When he goes out of his mind and out of this world, it's just over. You can't stop it because there's no limit to it.
Right.
Half court is the limit.
Exactly.
The only hope you have is that he steps back court, right?
Right, exactly.
That's his range, is half court.
We've never seen guys, and Steph was the first one that you got to literally pick him up at half court.
Yep.
Because Skip, you remember that Saturday night against OKC? OKC was beating them the whole night. And then Steph Curry took 2 dribbles past half court and let it go.
Yep. Well,
he's having a phenomenal season. And he make me sick with how good he can shoot the ball. It's not fair a damn man should be able to shoot the ball like this with the ease and the effortlessness in which he shoot it. And it goes in. You like, how you miss that? If he misses a wide open shot, Skip, you're like, how you miss that? It's almost like a three-pointer is a free throw to him.
Yep.
But that's not the MVP, Skip. I'm very impressed. It takes a lot to impress me. I'm extremely impressed with what he's doing. But I don't think the last 6 games have vaulted Steph Curry into the lead of the MVP discussion.
But I'll buy what Steve Kerr said after the game last night. Even by Steph's own lofty standard,
yes,
this is above and beyond.
Yeah, no question.
Agreed.
No question. No question.
No debate here.
No.
But you can't leap to MVP conclusion,
right?
Which it still, we don't want to take away from this hot stretch.
Right.
I just want to see it continue. That's all I want to see.
Well, it's going to have to. For them
keep on keeping on.
Skip, it's going to have to continue in order for them to get to stay in the play-in contention. Because if he goes, Skip, they're not getting points like that from anybody else. He has to do this. That's what makes it special. He knows. It's not like he has Clay. Well, if I have an off night, Clay can still go light you up because we've seen Clay go get 37 in a quarter. We've seen him get 60 in 29 minutes.
Yep.
So he has another option. But there are no other options. You can't count. You count on Andrew Wiggins, but Andrew will give us 30 tonight. No. Kelly Oubre might give you 28. He might give you 2. You just don't know which night it's going to be either or.
Yeah.
Draymond's going to be Draymond. Draymond is not going to score you a ton of points, but Draymond's going to do all the other things. He's going to grab the rebounds. He's going to assist. He's going to facilitate the offense, set really good screens for Steph to get his shot off. But I'm not counting on Draymond to give me 20 on a given night.
Yeah. Final point about Steph Curry. He's obviously not just some catch-and-shoot three-point
No, he can
marksman.
dance.
He can dance. He has all kinds of whipped cream moves where he can take it to the basket and make shots on the fly. He can make runners. He can make floaters.
Skip, you saw the shot that he made the other night against Boston?
It was just silly. He just threw it with his left hand.
I'm like, that's when you just turn to the coach. Coach, what you want me to do? You see, I fouled him, man. Hell, I fouled him from 22 feet away, and he throws it in the basket. What you want me to do?
Well, he's a 2-time MVP because he did this kind of thing from start to finish of 2 whole seasons. Okay.
And he's probably going to lead the league. And I never thought I'd say Steph Curry would lead the league in scoring again. But he's going to lead the league in scoring. It's going to come down to him and Bradley Beal. But the way
now, it's just nip-tuck.
Yeah. I think he's in front of Beal by, what, 1/10 of a percentage point? But Beal's not going away now.
Nope. He's not.
I love what Kerr said. Just utter amazement every single night. And yes, it has been fun to watch. We agree. We want to see this thing continue as it is fun for everyone. No mercy. Yesterday, Trey Lance had his second pro day with several teams, including the 49ers, Patriots, and Falcons, in attendance. And in the latest mock draft by Pro Football Focus, Lance slid all the way down to go 15 overall to the Patriots. And while it's no surprise that they have Trevor Lawrence going 1 and Zach Wilson going 2, the PFF mock then has the 49ers taking Justin Fields at number 3. So, Shannon, we've heard a lot of different options here, but can you see this happening?
I don't, Skip. I don't see him lasting until 15th. I think if he starts to slide somewhere past 8 or 9, I'm thinking somebody's going to come up to that 10th or 11th spot. I don't see him going much further outside the top 10 because the quarterback position is too valuable, and you're not going to run the risk. I know you're like, man, we sitting here and look at that. He's already down to 6 and 7, 8, 9. We might as well just sit here at 15, 17, and we can get our guy. I don't believe that's going to happen, Skip. That position is too valuable. And if you dodge a couple of arrows by having him fall out of the top 5 and somehow start to manage his way down to the 10 spot, I see somebody zooming up to the 10 spot or 11 and taking him. I don't see him going down to 15. I don't see him going much past 10. I'll say 11th is the lowest he'll slide. But I don't see him going out. I don't see him really going down and dropping like what PFF says he's going to do. And for me, Skip, look, I get it. And sometimes it's really not it's not how high you go, it's where you go. Because I believe Deshaun Watson went to the right place. I believe Patrick Mahomes went to the right place. Chicago moved up to trade Mitchell Trubisky. And while Trubisky thought it was a great idea, it was great to be the number 2 quarterback off the board, it ain't worked out. So, he was the first quarterback because I think Myles Garrett was the first player off the board. He was first quarterback. But for me, Skip, if you look at all these guys, you would have to put together a highlight tape of Trevor Lawrence, a highlight tape of Zach Wilson, a highlight tape of Justin Fields, a highlight tape of Trey Lance to equal what Mac Jones did just this year. If you just look at his tape for 13 games, it's hard-pressed for you to say there was another quarterback that's in this draft that played better. Trevor Lawrence did not play better than Mac Jones. Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson did not play better than Mac Jones did this year. I get it, there's a small sample size. But hell, it's not like you got a whole body of work on Trey Lance. The biggest sample size is Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has not played as well his sophomore and junior year as he did his freshman year. That's fact. Just look at it.
Agreed.
So for me, Mac Jones is plenty good enough. He's plenty athletic enough. He's the most accurate. That's what the numbers say. The QBR says in Pro Football Focus, y'all invented the stat.
Okay.
He was not even close. Might have been one of the greatest QBR seasons in the history of college football.
Well, it was.
His accuracy, number 77%. That's Drew Brees. As great as Drew Brees ain't complete 77% of his passes, Skip.
And he had the best supporting cast.
Yeah, we got it. That's right. Okay, I get Michael.
That's what happens at Alabama.
But Skip.
Okay.
Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson, even though he had the Jackson 5 backing him up. He was still back.
Oh, you said what he had backing him up was not what Mac Jones had backing him up.
You're right. I don't know if Jackie, Jermaine, Tito,
I don't think so.
Marlon, that ain't the same as those receivers.
No.
But for me, look, I don't see Trey Lance sliding down the draft, going down to 15. I just don't see it. Quarterbacks, I mean, look, we've seen it with Aaron Rodgers. It happened with Aaron Rodgers. But I don't believe it. And everybody's kicking themselves. Because you're like, you know what? Instead of being stubborn and bullheaded, we could have just moved up, gave up another.
A bunch of them could have just sat still and said, yeah, we'll take him. We'll take him at 13 or 15 or 19.
And sometimes, Skip, you learn your lessons by other people's failures.
You do.
I don't believe he slides like what Pro Football Focus says he's going to slide. I don't believe he'll be there at 15. I believe somebody either moves up to take him or somebody up in that spot will take him.
By the way, you should love, for once, Pro Football Focus in this mock draft because they have Mac Jones, that you just raved about, sliding to your Denver Broncos at 9. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Now let me get this out of my system and out of my craw up front. This was horrifying to me to read this. And I'm sure there's some merit in a year in which every prediction, they're all over the map.
Yeah.
I've told you before, in all my years of trying to break down drafts, never has there been a more sort of spellbinding, difficult to predict draft class of quarterbacks like these, because they could all go boom, boom, boom at the top. We may never see so many quarterbacks go so quickly as this draft. Or, to this point, we could see a couple slide. And you know and I know a couple of the 5 will fail.
Yes.
They just will.
Yeah.
It's just history screams they will fail.
I mean, you look at 83. I mean, there were, 5, 6 quarterbacks going in the first round. Elway, Marino, Kelly, all with the Hall of Fame career. But Ken O'Brien, Todd Blackledge, not so much.
Yep. Was Easton in
there? Tony Easton, yes, went to New England, So they had 6 first rounders, 50% over 3 with.
Okay. Tony Easton was
He
bad,
did go to a Super Bowl.
He took him to the Super Bowl, but he's not a Hall of Famer, obviously.
No.
Okay. Here's my worst nightmare, literally my worst nightmare. If they are right about Trey Lance falling past number 10 where my Cowboys sit, my Cowboys are locked in to take probably a cornerback I've been campaigning for, 40 months now for Patrick Surtain. I'm good with it. Love his dad, love him, love what he brings. He's a stud. Yes. I'm good. It's a cornerstone, 10, 12-year Pro Bowl kind of pick. I'm good with that. It's obviously a glaring need pick.
Right.
To be opposite Trevon Diggs, you'd have to 2 Bama quarters. Here we go. Now, what if Trey Lance is there at 10 and Jerry says, well, what am I supposed to do? And nobody trades up. Nobody offers enough to trade up to 10 where they just say, well, we got to take Patrick Surtain. It's exactly what we want and need. Okay. What if he slides by? Then I'm going to have to worry about him for maybe the next 20 years, because what if he becomes the guy? What if he's the it quarterback of this group? Because I've told you already, My instincts are usually pretty good here, and my instincts are screaming to me, this is the one.
Okay.
I can only do it off the YouTube highlights because I did not watch his games. I'm sorry, I did not. But I look at the numbers, and I look at 1 year in 2019 of playing 16 games and throwing 28 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Right. And again, one reason that Pro Football Focus has him falling is, and their little blurb on him at 15 is that his accuracy is a notch below the other first-round prospects. Well, is that true? I ask you. In that year in 2019, he completed 67% of his passes. So I checked out Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech.
Right.
He started for basically 3 years. The first year he only started 7 games, but he was basically a 3-year starter. Here are his completion percentages. 56.8, 63.5, and the final year, 65.7. So even his best year, 65.7, was a couple of notches below 67% for Trey Lance. Well, am I going to condemn Patrick Mahomes for being only a career 63% passer?
No.
No, I won't, because to your point, he's become the best thrower of the football in the National Football League, and he won an MVP, and he won a Super Bowl MVP. I can't take that away. Right. And this did not predict it, that what was his arc into pro football.
Correct.
It did not predict it.
Yes.
So 67% for Trey Lance in 16 games is good enough.
Yeah.
It's not 77% that you just threw out there, but it will work in pro football.
Yes.
So yesterday, Trey Lance had what they called a private workout, which I don't really understand, but they kind of closed it off to the media. There's some clips of him that are circulating on the internet. But my man Jordan Matthews from Vanderbilt University, who left Vanderbilt as the all-time career yards leader in the SEC, and he went on to do great things, very good things in Philadelphia, and right now he's without a team. But they needed somebody else to catch passes yesterday, so he went, and then obviously afterwards he just raved about Trey Lance's pro football future because he said he will be great. I don't doubt that. So now I'm back to my Cowboys. Jerry crumbled, as we know, and he admitted publicly at the media session in which they introduced Dak as the new quarterback and the new highest paid quarterback in the National Football League, with making $75 million in year number one. Biggest signing bonus ever, most guaranteed money ever.
Nice chunk of change.
Okay, what if Trey Lance quickly proves to be better than Dak Prescott? It could happen. Okay, well, it's just going to horrify me and plague me because you could have done that. If you'd been ahead of the game and seen this coming, you could have done that.
But Skip, but if you do it like that, what happens if he's not there at 10?
Okay, but I'm saying you have to be ahead of the curve. You have to be smart enough to see you have to read the tea leaves and realize, no, he's going to fall. Your reconnaissance, your intel has to be so top-notch that you say, aha, we got this. He will fall to us at 10, and he will ultimately be better than Dak Prescott, who, again, I love Dak, but I can't support the fact that, or defend the fact that he's 6-11 in his last 17 starts. I can't defend the fact he's won one playoff game in his career versus a Mahomes who won the MVP and Super Bowl MVP. Right. I can't defend him even against Lamar, who did win in his second year the MVP of the league. Okay.
And he's won a playoff game.
Okay, I got it. So the point is that if this is the guy, then the shrewd move would have been, oh, well, we'll just sit quietly here and we'll take it. I mean, again, now you're done. It's over and out. But you could have, if you had tagged Dak Prescott for a second time. So what if you had tagged him for a second time at $37 million, and there'd be a lot of rancor and a lot of bad blood, and it would still, they'd be at odds with each other. But all of a sudden, what if Trey Lance then fell into your lap at number 10 and you said, we got Trey Lance?
Well, if you tagged Dak, you couldn't have got Keanu Neal and Kazee.
Well, I don't know. Maybe not, because that'd be 37 against Cap. Okay.
Versus 22.
Okay, is Keanu Neal going to change life in Dallas?
You said he was. You like Kazee. He can't play safety anymore, but he can play linebacker. That's Keanu Neal. Yeah.
Well, he was the 17th overall pick in the draft at one point, and then he tore his Achilles, and he blew out his ACL, and he can't run anymore, so they're going to transition him to outside linebacker.
And then guess what? And then you got another guy that tore his Achilles, and you brought him in to play safety.
That was last year.
Yes.
That was 4 games after he and Keanu Neal were on the field at Dallas for that immortal comeback victory in which my team scored 30 points in the second half on a pass defense in Atlanta that was the worst in pro football last year and the 5th worst of all time.
And those two guys were right there.
And those 2 guys are now on my team as quote-unquote upgrades, right?
Woo.
Okay. Well, okay, so I could do without either of them because the quarterback's all that matters to me. So what if this guy is the guy?
Yes.
Well, what if you had him for 1 year while Dak was the starting quarterback and he just played out the string, and then you'd have to just let Dak walk and you'd say, here we go with Trey Lance. I'm just saying, if Trey Lance proves to be a perennial all-pro quarterback, then Dak was the wrong move, right?
You can't.
I'm giving you my worst-case scenario.
Yeah, that's your worst-case scenario. You're saying that because you believe, if you're reading what Pro Football Focus says, that Trey Lance is going to fall. If he's going to fall, at least at bare minimum, he'll fall to Dallas at 10. And you're saying, well, you know what? Dallas might look back and says, we know we should let Dak walk, or we should have just franchised him and took Trey Lance for a year and then in transition from Dak to Trey Lance.
Okay.
But Skip, you never know how this thing. We've seen, nobody thought Patrick Mahomes was going to go top 10, and he goes from 27 to 10. So it's not far-fetched for somebody 15. Chicago Bears, Skip. Do you believe Andy Dalton is their guy?
No, I don't. Okay, so they would go up and get him?
They could easily go up.
Okay, you're going to have to pay a lot.
Well, they paid a lot for Trubisky. They got to be in that situation. Well, you didn't have to, Skip. Wasn't nobody going to take Trubisky at second. You could have just sat right there at 3 and took him.
All right. So now let's do Justin Fields. We did a whole topic last week about, is Justin Fields falling because there's some racial undertones to teams starting to discount him, starting to pick him apart, right? And yet, I told you, I'm still not going to be shocked if the Jets take Justin Fields at number 2. I know he's just inked in with, they're inked in with Zach Wilson. Okay.
Yes,
and I get that. But I read Mel Kiper yesterday, and he did his annual list of the players that he loves the most at each position, despite where he's ranking them on his big board. He's been a Justin Fields supporter from the start.
Yes.
And Mel is as respected a draft analyst as there has ever been.
He's been doing it longer.
He is the guy, right? And he wrote yesterday of Justin Fields that he'd almost certainly be the top quarterback in most other classes. He's a special talent. I've never wavered on making him my number 2 overall quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence. And he points out, yes, he had 2 bad games, which I pointed out from the end of the season when he had the terrible game against Northwestern in the Big Ten Championship. And then I said the Indiana game. They were awful games, but he goes on to defend him and said that he would be great for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. Okay? Well, is that who they're sitting on? Is that why they gave 2 future first-round picks to go up to 3 for Justin Fields? That's who Pro Football Focus says, yes, they did for Justin Fields.
I mean, Skip, it does seem really far-fetched that you gave up 2 first-rounders for Mac Jones. I mean, even I'm trying to wrap, I was like, hold on. Did they really give up 2 first-rounders for Mac Jones? Because that's what they would have done, Skip. Mac had an unbelievable season. Mac Jones had the equivalent season, minus the game, as Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Joe Burrow came out of nowhere. That makes it seem like Joe Burrow was number 1 quarterback coming into the season, and he left out. No, he wasn't. Most estimates had him a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick.
Yeah, and he was ordinary his first year at LSU. Yep.
And then all of a sudden, boom.
Okay.
And that's kind of what happened with Mac Jones. He had one of those seasons. He had what they a Barry Sanders type season where he just burst on the scene. He's like, wow.
Yep.
So for me, Skip, look, I like these guys. I don't really love any of them because I think all of them, we can pick them apart. And I think that, everybody's like Trevor Lawrence, he can't miss, he can't miss. There's no such thing as a can't miss player.
No, there's no such thing. So here's how crazy it's gotten. Yesterday, we responded to Michael Lombardi, an NFL insider who used to work alongside Bill Belichick, guaranteeing that Justin Fields is not the pick at number 3 to the Shanahans, right? And now we have Pro Football Focus saying yes, and we have Mel Kiper saying that's what I do.
Fox Bet said that's what I do.
All right, there you go. That's how crazy this draft class has been. But the final nightmare for me would be falling Trey Lance, because I just have a deeper and deeper feeling he's going to become the best of all 5.
Well, the draft's not going to start till 3. So we can skip. I think it's a foregone conclusion.
Well,
1 and 2.
Well, is it foregone?
Draft starts at 3.
Yeah, but why have we just engraved in stone that the Jets are going to take Zach Wilson? I don't get that. Because...
Hey, Pro Football Focus loves him.
They loved him. They said they gave him the highest
season since they've been doing it.
Well, you don't love Pro Football Focus.
I mean, I just saw Mac Jones have the best QBR, completion percentage, throw 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and not trail in the second half. I don't know how you do better than that.
And by the way, he played 3 games the year before, and they were all high-quality starts.
Yes.
High quality.
I don't know if y'all watched him in that bowl game, the Citrus Bowl, when they played Michigan. Mm-hmm. Did you see what he did to Michigan? Well, I guess that's not really saying much anymore, Skip.
Well, it should have been. It should have been. I thought their defense was very good.
Yeah. Oh, man, Khaki Pants ain't got no good defense.
Yes, they do.
Well,
Don Brown, he's good.
Yeah, not anymore, though.
Yeah,
he's not with them anymore. Shannon, you're supposed to be our 49ers insider, so could you please call some?
Yeah. Hey, what y'all got going on, Mike?
Find out. I just really want to know where Fields is going to end up. If I cannot keep track right now. We are counting down the days until the draft, but we're going to this, guys. Antonio Brown is the last big name to not re-sign with the Super Bowl champ Buccaneers. But according to Bleacher Report, it's the Chiefs who are the best fit for AB to land with. Kansas City lost Sammy Watkins in free agency, and they also have more cap space to devote to Brown, who is reportedly looking for something closer to market value. So, Shannon, would the Chiefs be the best fit?
Skip, it'd be a great fit. And I've told you this was going to be the hang-up with AB. Skip, he doesn't want to play again for 1 year. He says, I played on that prove it deal. I've proven I can still play. I've proven that I will behave myself. Skip, the thing, look, Andy, I don't know if Andy's older than BA or BA is older than Andy, but they're a lot alike, is that Andy will tell you exactly what he expects, and if you don't do it, you're going to have to move on. Because Andy did have T.O. T.O. have great respect for Andy Reid, but...
I don't know about that.
Ask him. He'll tell you his favorite coach to play for was Andy. T.O. had a problem with that. He thought he outperformed the contract, and they didn't want to tear the contract up 1 year after he got there, and so that soured and that he started some problems that arose, and Andy sent him home. Andy says, you know what? It's just best that you go. Hey, take some time. When you feel like you're ready to come back.
I know Terrell first got into it with Brad Childress, who was the coordinator, and they just, it was ugly.
Yes, yeah. But for the most part, Skip, that's kind of how it always starts. It starts with the position coach coordinator before it gets to Andy. But, Skip, BA made it abundantly clear to AB the reason why it works so well in Tampa. You're late to meetings, you're gone. Mm-hmm. You're late to practice, you're gone. You throw a temper tantrum on the sideline, you're gone. See, nobody had made that abundantly clear to AB. Pittsburgh didn't, because, Skip, when you're catching 130 balls for 1,513, 14 touchdowns a season, they're going to let you do everything. They let you come over to the house and kick your feet up on the couch.
Yeah.
The Raiders didn't make that clear to him. So what did he do? The first time he get into a situation that he didn't like, he start bucking. Well, they got rid of him. And he saw being away from the game for an extended period of time. Now, hold on. These teams ain't really putting up with my BS anymore. Man, I'm out here losing all this money. This guy making this money. I'm better than he. He making $14 million. I'm making nothing. So AB learned real quick the NFL will move on just fine without Antonio Brown. Mm-hmm. Andy Reid will need to make it abundantly clear. AB, if you're late, you're gone. Late to practice, you're gone. Miss meeting, you're gone. Throw a tantrum on the sideline, you're gone. Now, Skip, he'll be better in this situation than Sammy Watkins, because I believe he's a better player than Sammy Watkins is. And that's another guy with quick twitch. You got Tyreek, quick twitch. AB still got quick twitch. And you got Travis Kelce, who's the premier tight end in all of football. So they will be loaded, but the question is how much? Because the price point, what is the price point for AB? Could they get him for $6 million plus incentives? They have about $11 million up under the cap, Skip. I'm not sure they want to spend the whole quote-unquote ball of wax in one location.
Yep.
But can they do $6 million plus incentives, which will be more than the $1 million plus incentives Tampa's trying to get him? Like I said, AB wasn't going back to Tampa for that small amount of small amount of money, Skip. And that's what it comes down to. AB wants to get compensated now because he knows he's closer to the end than the beginning.
Okay, before I answer this, I should probably disqualify myself. I obviously am a Brady fan, or at least a Brady defender on this show. So clearly, I would like to see Antonio go back to Tom.
I bet you would.
I believe, heart of hearts, Antonio won't fit anywhere except with Tom. There's some connection those two have. It's a weird connection. It's an unpredictably uncharacteristic connection of two guys who are from opposite ends of the spectrum. But it works because there's mutual respect.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to go all the way to mutual love.
Because, Skip, the thing is that Ben, I'm not so sure Ben respected AB, and AB damn sure didn't respect Ben.
Did not.
But AB
remember Ben called him out on the radio.
Yeah, again, that interception against Denver. AB respected Coach Belichick. He didn't have any respect for Mike Tomlin, because if he did, he wouldn't have done the things that he did. If you have respect for someone, you don't do what you did. So now you go to an established situation with Patrick Mahomes. He's established. Andy Reid is established. I believe that's a little bit different of a situation than him going, because, Skip, you got to have an established coach that's firmly entrenched. There ain't no wavering. And you got to have a quarterback where they got Patrick Mahomes not going anywhere.
I'll never forget the opening media session in Philadelphia, Andy Reid and Terrell Owens. And right out of the box, Andy Reid called him Terrell Owens. And Terrell sort of cleared his throat, said, Coach, it's Terrell. Yeah. And as soon as I heard that, I said, uh-oh. Like, this is not going to go that well.
Right.
Because that's disrespect immediately.
Right.
Like, you don't even know how to pronounce my first name? Okay. And it blew all apart. But I agree with you. I think maybe for a while he thought it was heaven because he had fallen completely apart with Mariucci, and
Greg
Terry Donahue was the GM, who I was very close to. And it just...
Because you remember he was on the sideline, he was yelling at Greg Knapp.
He was just all over. And that was in Minnesota versus Randy Moss when T.O. was just getting annihilated head-to-head against Randy.
That's how you do it, Skip. If you know one of those guys, you know how receivers are. So what you try to do is you try to feed your guy. And hey, we're going to double this guy right here. Get him frustrated.
That was the game when T.O. went to the locker room and basically got on a soapbox and said, I don't want Jeff Garcia anymore. I want Tim Rattay to be my starting quarterback, just for the record. Okay, I agree with you. AB would be a good fit here because simply that they lost Sammy.
Right.
And he is a Sammy.
Right.
It would fit right into their scheme of catches last year, just for those who have forgotten. Kelsey led them with 105 catches. Tyreek was next at 87. Then it went down to Demarcus Robinson had 45. And don't forget him, he was a pretty key piece. Every time I looked up, number 11's making another big catch. McCole Hardman had 41. So it goes 45, 41, and then it went down to Sammy at 37. So he was the fourth receiver.
But Sammy missed like 6 or 7 weeks, so it no number, no telling what his numbers could have been.
I got it. But that's the hole in the rotation right now.
Right.
And AB could fit in there. So in 11 games last year with Brady, he had 53 catches. So he averaged catching about 5 balls a game.
Right.
Not bad.
Right.
And early on, Tom just force-fed him just to try to show him, we love you and we want you and we need you.
Right.
And you are a part of this rotation, which is some rotation because you got the 2 wideouts who are about as good a duo as you can get.
And that's what would help AB, because guess what? He's not going to get the double. You're going to double Tyreek. You're going to probably double Trav. And that means he gets to work one-on-one against 2 or 3 corner.
Okay. This is just me. Last year, with his time away from football, I didn't see quite the quick twitch I saw in Pittsburgh, for instance. I thought he lost just a touch of sudden. Just to my eye test, it wasn't quite the same. It was still very good, but he was all-time great for a while.
Skip, he can still get in and out of breaks. He can still run the route tree. Now, maybe he's not the deep guy that he once was in Pittsburgh.
See it. I did not see it.
But you got Reek for that.
Okay.
You still got McCole Hardman that can get downfield.
Okay.
So, but that
now
intermediate
you've got
stuff.
nicknames for everybody on Kansas City. They're your new bandwagon?
Well, Skip, I mean, everybody just go back. You don't call, I mean, in the locker room, I mean, you
Trav and Reek.
Yeah, but I mean, Skip, you've been around enough football that nobody goes by their full name in the locker room.
They do not. So Antonio in the last 6 games with Brady had 6 touchdowns, and he had 1 in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay, so he was coming alive, and their rapport was starting to really manifest itself in the end zone.
Right.
So I thought it was a sweet spot for him to be in.
Right.
But the money is not there because the money all went to everybody else. And I'm sure it is just killing his pride to say, do you know who I am?
Right.
You gave him that much. We start with Shaq Barrett, Levante, and then Gronk, and we go right down the line. You gave him and him and him and him.
All of them. They brought
down to Fournette.
But that's the thing. That's what AB said. AB said, hold on. Y'all found money for everybody else, but somehow y'all telling me y'all ain't got but $1 million for your boy.
Okay. That's what it is. Okay. Maybe this is disqualified wishful thinking on my part. I still say AB is a firestorm waiting to happen if you don't have a deep connection with him. And I'm not sure Patrick would be the guy to have a deep connection. Maybe Andy would.
Yeah.
I'm not sure after that. I just think that he would be feeling himself a little more than he was last year when he was on his best behavior.
But guess what they did? Is that Bruce Arians brought him in and said, you're a piece. You're not the puzzle. You see, in Pittsburgh, he was the puzzle. Okay. You see, in Oakland, he was the puzzle.
Well, to your point, he came in under 0 tolerance last year.
Exactly.
Would he have 0 tolerance? He's going to walk in the door flaunting his ring. I got a ring.
Hey, they said we got one the year before, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody here is accomplished. I mean, the guy that's in that locker room, Tyreek, is a Super Bowl champ. He's an All-Pro. Travis Kelce is an All-Pro. He's an MVP. Mahomes is an MVP. A lot of those guys got rings, and they got them before AB did. So he don't come. I mean, look, we know what AB is. He's a multiple-time All-Pro. He's a fascinating. He sabotaged a large portion of his own career with his behavior. But that's not to take away. He's still an exceptional talent. He still can play at extremely high level. All he has to do is stay out of his own way. That was his problem. He kept stepping on his own feet.
He did. So I will give you this. If you got him again on his best behavior, if he were next year the way he was last year, quiet as a little mouse, well, I didn't hear a peep from him all year. If you had him on Kansas City and we did have a Super Bowl rematch between these two, then you would really want AB on your side because he would be driven.
I mean, Fox Bet say the Chiefs gonna have like 12, 13 wins.
Well,
y'all will be under that.
Okay, good for you. All I know is Tampa is going to win the Super Bowl next year.
Oh, you're going to
repeat? I'm on record. I already said it. With or without
Don't nobody buy records no more. You know that, right?
With or without.
Everybody stream now.
Some people do buy records. Some do. They're very valuable. They're more valuable than they ever were. Vinyl is the way to go.
Everybody's streaming.
Yep.
I kind of want. Well, I think an old record player would be kind of nice.
Yep.
I think that would look good. I understand. I hear you, Skip. I hear you over there.
No mercy.
Steph Curry's historic streak continued last night, hitting 10 three-pointers and dropping 49 points in a win. Curry's 72 three-pointers are the most ever in a 10-game stretch, and he has 6 games of 10 or more made three-pointers this season. No other player has more than 5 of those games in their entire career, while Curry has 21 total. I can't believe these numbers sometimes when I say them out loud. Shannon, where would you rank Steph all time?
Right now, Skip, I have him in my top 15, but there's a chance for him to move into the top 10. And Skip, if he were to win another title, he wins another regular season MVP, I don't know how you keep him outside of the top 10. He wins both. He's the greatest point guard to ever live. Because no player will have impacted, only Wilt will have impacted the game as much as Steph Curry. And so you're going to talk about a guy that has 4 titles and 3 MVPs. And Skip, I know we give him, he's caught a lot of flack. He's won 3 titles, and he hasn't won the Finals MVP in any of those. But let me tell you his numbers. In 2017, the year Kevin Durant first stepped foot in there, and KD won the MVP, Steph Curry was 27 points, 8 and 9. In 2018, he was 27, 6 and 7. In 2015, he was 26, 5 and 6. He didn't win Finals MVP because Andre Iguodala stopped LeBron. LeBron just averaged 36, 13 and 9. So that's why he won the MVP. So it's not like Steph Curry has played trash in the finals. Like I said, if you look at his numbers, some of the all-time greats did not average as many points in the finals as Steph Curry. But Skip, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to keep him outside of the top 10 if he wins another title or another regular season MVP. because that will give him 4 titles, 3 MVPs. Not very many guys. You got to go to Chamberlain, and you got to go to Russell, and you got to go to LeBron, guys that have at least 4 regular 4 titles and 3 MVPs. Skip, it's not a whole lot of guys. Magic Johnson. It's not a whole lot of guys that have that type of resume. And so for me, the 3-point Skip, when it's all said and done, the dude might have 4,000 threes. Like I said, when you look at his impact on the game, he changed it, Skip. Now, they changed the rules for Wilt because Wilt was so dominant. Now everybody, all the analytics say 3 is more than 2. Everybody shoot the 3. Don't take the layup. Pass it out for a 3-point shot. That's because of him. He's top 15, probably somewhere around 12, 13. But Skip, with another title, with either or, he's top 10. He gets both. He's the greatest point guard.
Okay, there are a lot of big ifs in your equation.
But right now, Skip, as we sit here, he's top 15.
Okay. I don't have him in my top 20. Yes.
What?
If we were ranking this as regular season only, he'd be in my top 10 already. I'm sorry. By his standards, by 2-time MVP standards, he has stunk in the postseason. I got all kinds of numbers, and we don't have enough show for me to tell you how many times he came up short in huge finals games. Especially, you should know this better than anybody, he gift-wrapped and handed LeBron James, your man, your Shannon Sharpe, he handed him a championship with a 3-1 lead. He stunk up games 5, 6, and 7 the way no top 20 player should ever stink up 3 straight finals games, 2 of them in your house, 2 of them. Do you want the numbers? And by the way, he was so bad in that finals that he and Draymond, you said Draymond went into the parking lot crying for Kevin Durant. And then I remember Steph led the charge, and they flew all the way to the Hamptons to recruit
Interrupted by the man 4th of July.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
They went to recruit him. That's Steph Curry. And I'm like, Steph would do that? Yeah, because he needed him. And Kevin won the MVP of those 2. You can throw all those numbers out there you want, but Kevin took over those games, especially the 2 game threes in LeBron's house. But if I look at 5, 6, and 7, 2016 finals, from the floor, he shot 37%. That is horrible. From 3, he shot 36% in those 3 games. He was 15 of 42. That is horrible given all the numbers we are now raving about on this streak that he's on over the last 6 games. His assists to turnovers in those 3 games, 7 assists to 12 turnovers. And you say, he'll be the greatest point guard ever. Baloney! I can't do it. I can't go there because this stunk. And if I look at the 4th quarters of games 5, 6, and 7, again, 2 of them at Oracle, he shot 30% from the floor and 25% from 3. He was 3 for 12 in those 3 4th quarters. And if we can get to the final game 7, this is in your house. You can right the wrong of blowing the previous 2 games. You have the excuse you didn't have Draymond for game 5 at home, but you had him back for game 7. He's your guts and your glue. And what do? You shoot 6 for 19 from the floor. You shoot 4 of 14 from 3. But worse, in the 4th quarter, you go 1 of 6 from the floor and 1 of 5 from 3 in a teeter-totter seesaw game that went back and forth, and Steph could not make a shot. Kyrie finally said, I'm sick of this. I got it. I'll make a shot. And then we get to 2019, and I realize they're up against it because they don't have KD, and then eventually they didn't have KD came back briefly, and they lost Clay. But he did have Clay for these games because game 4, they're down 2-1 at home. They can even the series going back to Toronto. And what does he do? He goes 9 for 22 and 2 of 9 from 3, and he stunk. And he was minus 11 in that game. And then the worst game was game 6, the closeout game. He shoots 6 of 17, this is at Oracle, and 3 of 11 from 3, and they're down 1 with 8 seconds left, and he has a clean look from 3 and missed it. You got to make that shot if you're that guy that we're raving about.
Skip, you're nitpicking.
No, I'm not.
His body.
These are huge. These are boulders of nits.
Let me ask you a question. So where would you rank Larry Bird? because Larry Bird in his first NBA Finals had 2 games in which he scored 8 points.
What did he not make up for that?
But Skip.
Stop it.
Time out, Skip. Just give me a second.
Just took over finals against Magic and the Showtime Lakers.
Larry Bird had 2 games in which he scored 8, and he was not Finals MVP.
Okay.
Cornbread Maxwell was. Let me ask you a question.
Then what happened?
Skip, you make it seem like Steph has nothing on his resume.
You can't give me a then what happened with him. You can't give it to me.
Skip.
No Finals MVPs?
Skip, hold on. The guy average has 27, 8, 9, 27, 6, and 7. Okay, Kevin Durant is at 33.
If I'd taken Larry Bird and transformed him into Steph Curry and said, you got Larry Bird for games 5, 6, and 7, 2 are at home in quote-unquote Boston Garden, what do you think he would have done in those games?
Skip.
In his prime?
Skip.
He would have destroyed whoever was opposite him.
He lost to Magic. You make it seem like Steph Curry lost to a bum in LeBron.
No, but this is Steph at his house. You
Okay.
got 2 out of 3 at home, and you shoot that kind of shit. You're 25% from 3.
Skip,
are you kidding me?
Skip,
you can't have it. You can't do it.
If you just take someone's worst moment, well, then nobody should be right there.
Moments. Plural.
Skip.
If I were just doing one game, you could go nitpick.
Skip.
I'm doing 5 games.
Skip.
5
games in 5 NBA Finals, and you picked the 5 games. Really? So Michael Jordan.
MVP. No MVP.
No, Skip.
Sorry.
He's a regular season.
Okay.
We've seen guys. So let me ask you a question. So by your metric, Andre Iguodala is a better player than Steph Curry because he has a Finals MVP.
Well, he had one great run in the finals, but I'm not saying he's better. I don't have him in my top 20, obviously.
Man, Steph Curry's top 15 player.
Just for perspective on this, just so everybody gets this, go back. You can check the tape before the draft of Steph Curry and Blake Griffin. Go back and see what I did on ESPN for about 2 months. I fought for Steph Curry, the skinny little guy from Davidson. I said he should go first overall in this draft. So I first guessed it. Everybody said, we're going to have Chris Broussard on. I'll ask him about it because he remembers we had epic duels on First Take and Outside the Lines about Blake Griffin versus Steph Curry. And I said, you have to take the little guy, number 1, because he's going to revolutionize the game as a shooter. I didn't see this coming, but I said I would take him over Blake Griffin because I'd watched Blake for 2 full years at Oklahoma. He went back for a second year. That's all you need to know. And he couldn't make a shot from a foot away. He completely transformed himself at the end of his career now into a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, which is bizarre to me, but is Steph better than Blake? Yeah. So I don't hate on Steph. I loved on Steph. I defended him to that point, but I see what I see and I react to what I don't see. And I don't see him measure up to 2 MVPs, 1 unanimous in the postseason. I have not seen it and I need to see that. And I'm not writing him off. I'm not going to write him completely off, because he's got a chance to right the wrong this year and next year.
Well, first of all, if a guy's outside the top 20, there's no way in hell he can get into if he's outside the top 20, he can't make it into the top 10. What can he do?
Go win an MVP.
He got 2 of them. One of them unanimous.
No, I mean a Finals MVP. Go win a Finals MVP.
And you put him in your top 10?
No, I just get him in the top 20.
Man, if Steph Curry ain't in the top 20 right now with what he's done,
okay,
he ain't got to play another game. He in the top 20. He in the top 15.
Oh, okay, here are my second 10. Okay. Yeah. I've got Akeem, I've got Oscar, I got Dr. J. These are all better than Steph right here, right now. I've got David Robinson. You think not?
No.
Karl Malone,
no.
Second all-time leading scorer.
No.
Right? Oh, stop it.
No.
I got Bill Walton.
No.
Oh, stop it.
No.
You have no idea what you're talking about. Do you remember Bill Walton?
I do.
He dominated pro basketball the way very
For
few
2 years.
dominated. He got hurt.
That's my point.
Did he not dominate a finals, just take it over? He took it over. He was the runaway MVP, regular season finals. I haven't seen that from Steph yet. I haven't seen him take over in the biggest moments. I'm sorry. I still have Dirk in my second 10 and be the top 20. Did he not win Finals MVP?
He won Finals MVP.
Yeah,
Skip, he's not better than Steph.
Yeah. Was Jerry West? I'll put Jerry West in there. He's better right now than Steph. I'm sorry. Yes, he is. He's just better. Well, you must have him in your top 10. You're discounting everybody out of my second 10.
No. Skip, I just told you I got him somewhere around 12 or 13.
Okay.
But I believe if he wins another MVP, he wins another title, he's going to be in the top 10. I believe
better player right now. This is the guy I have at my number 19 spot. I got James Harden ahead of Steph Curry right now. Right here, right now. Everything that I've seen. Who's the better player? You've been gushing about James all year. Now you're caught up in prisoner of the moment.
No.
You're prisoner of April. Congratulations.
I'm a prisoner of the last 12 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, what about James Harden? Is he not better than Steph? I'll take him any day or night as an overall, all-around basketball player, as a scorer and distributor. He's just better than Steph. I've seen it. I told you, as a perimeter scorer, I've never seen anything like James Harden on a nightly basis. Remember, you're on a hot streak right now. You're reacting to 6 games.
No. He ain't won no title in a while. He got 3 titles and 2 MVPs. I'm reacting to what I've seen over the last 10 years from this man.
Okay.
And plus, head-to-head. What's James Harden head-to-head with Steph Curry?
Head-to-head win?
In the playoffs.
Well, I don't know. He's had a much better team than James had every time, right?
Now he got a better team.
Okay. Once again, I'm going to reiterate. These are games that Steph Curry has had this year that some people are saying he should be the runaway MVP. These are his 3-point totals. 1 of 11, 1 of 10, 1 of 8, 1 of 6, 2 of 11, 2 of 10, 2 of 10, and 2 of 9. That's your guy that you got in the top 20. 15, top 15, says Shannon Sharpe.
Skip,
Really?
So let me ask you a question. So the guy's supposed to make every shot? He's supposed to make 50% of all his shots?
He's a hot, cold shooter. Right now, he ranks 13th in three-point shooting in the NBA, given his hot streak.
Skip.
He was on a career worst pace when he hit the month of April. He was at 40%, which is the worst three-point shooting pace of his career.
I think.
And now we have vaulted him into the top 15. Congratulations.
No, Skip.
Way to go.
Skip,
I'm proud of you.
Skip.
You are the all-time prisoner of the moment. How does it feel?
Skip, I think we're having 2 different arguments.
No.
I'm looking at Steph Curry's totality, his body of work over the 12 years in which it's 12 or 13 years in which he's been in the NBA. You're looking at just the last month or two. I'm not saying Steph should be the MVP, but I believe his body of work with the 3 titles, the 2 MVPs, one of them unanimous, the way he's impacted the game, Skip, he's transformed the game. I believe that vaults him into the top 15. He gets another MVP. He gets another finals. He wins another ring.
Okay, you got lots of ifs. If you throw in the ifs, I'll be with you.
Right now, Steph Curry is a top 15 player in NBA history. As we speak, if Steph Curry never makes another 3, if Steph Curry never puts on another pair of Under Armour sneakers, Steph Curry, to me, is a top 15 player, and it's going to be hard for somebody to convince me that he's not.
Who would you rather have as a teammate? If I could do it hypothetically, would you rather have Steph Curry going into the playoffs or Dwayne Wade? Seriously, who would you rather have? Because I'll take Dwayne Wade any day or night. He is all-time winner, high intangibles. Taught LeBron how to win championships.
Skip.
Hey, I'm just doing intangible who I want on my team. I'd rather have Dwayne. Right now, maybe Steph will change my mind, but I got to see it.
Steph Curry is a top 15 player. Now, you ain't going to change your mind.
Here are the players I omitted from my top 20. Steve Nash, he has 2 MVPs. I didn't say he's better.
He can't touch Steph. He can't touch Steph.
Well, he won 2 MVPs, which is pretty great, right?
and got no rings.
Okay. Allen Iverson, I don't have him in my top 20. Can he touch Steph?
No.
Okay.
He's an unbelievable player. I love AI.
Okay.
But he's not Steph.
KG and Paul Pierce, they were really good.
Not even together.
Really good.
Not together.
Really good.
Not
but
together.
I don't have him in my top 20.
He got more MVP. He got more MVPs and finals than both of them combined.
Yep.
They can't see him.
Okay. I need to see a whole lot more, but apparently you've seen the future. So if you've seen the future, congratulations.
Right now, if you don't do anything else, if Steph Curry doesn't do another thing.
Okay. You have him 15th?
He's in my top 15.
Well, we're
maybe
in the
12,
15th.
13.
Okay, so maybe he's 12th. So you got him ahead of a bunch of really good players.
Hell, he's really good. What
Really?
you think he a bum?
Well, I need to know who you're eliminating from my second 10.
But I don't even know who on your list. But like I said, my list is a lot different than yours because you already know who I got to go.
Your list is already disqualified because you got LeBron.
You already got to go. You know I got to go.
You got one.
Go.
He's one.
But the man, Skip, with them 3 titles, 73-9, the way he's impacted the game, it's hard. How you leave that man out? How?
All right.
I just explained to you.
All right. I don't know what to say. You guys can talk about this all day. I'm surprised by it. We're going to leave it for now. We'll get back to him.
No mercy.
some team's going to be very lucky to have the worst record in first pick.
I think 16 is the best player on the planet.
Wilson keeps it. Jimmy's in for the score. He is one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football.
Mac Jones has been tremendous.
Mac Jones, for me, is the second best quarterback in this field.
Fields just continues to be brilliant. Wow. Justin Fields put that one on the money. Wow.
Well, Trey Lance is the latest quarterback to have a second pro day as the NFL draft is now just over a week away, guys. Trevor Lawrence is expected to go first overall. And from there, it's nearly wide open as the Jets and 49ers are both searching for a franchise quarterback. Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance have all been rumored at some point to go early in the first round. Fox Sports NFL analyst and former #1 overall pick Michael Vick is joining us this morning. Mike, it's great to have you with us. If you were picking second, good morning, for the Jets and third for the 49ers, who would you take?
It's really tough. I can see a lot of these teams and offensive coordinators really sitting in these boardrooms, having these meetings, scratching their heads because it's just a surplus of quarterbacks coming out in this draft that all look identical. They're all big, strong guys who can throw the football and they can move a little bit. And I really look at it as a true evolution of the quarterback position because all of these guys are going to matter to their teams 5 years down the road. But to answer your question, Jenny, I look at the New York Jets, my former squad, who I have a lot of love for, and I feel like they need some excitement. Not to say that these guys are unexciting. They all bring what they bring to the table. But when I look at Zach Wilson, I see a lot of, Kyler Murray. I see a lot of that scoot. I see a lot of the wiggle, playmaking ability, like all these guys have, but they need somebody who can fill the seats and give them some type of hope, into the future. So I like Zach Wilson at #2. And at #3, I'm thinking Justin Fields. Kyle Shanahan, is whoever he get, and I know he's a guy who's sitting in his seat right now, excited about his position because he's going to take one of these guys and whoever lands in Kyle Shanahan's hands are going to be extremely lucky and very successful. But he get to pick a guy that he can build into the future. And to fall into his hands, somebody's going to get extremely lucky. I think he'll like a guy like Justin Fields, big, strong guy who can move, ran a 4.40. Extremely competent, understands the game of football, and is a proven leader. You can ask all his teammates, at Ohio State. But look, when I look at this draft, I look at all these quarterbacks, even Mac Jones, a tremendous amount of game. What's the difference between Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence? It's take your pick. Not who's pushing to say this guy should be #1 it's obvious that Trevor Lawrence is an amazing quarterback, but all these guys are amazing when you look at their skill set. So, like I say, all these guys are these coaches, and they have to be scratching their heads on who should I take because that's just a life-changing decision in terms of your franchise. But, you really can't miss with either one of these guys. So I'll take any one of them, like I said earlier, and win with them. And these offensive coordinators should be thinking the same. But I like Zach Wilson to the Jets. I like Justin Fields to San Francisco.
For me, I'm high on Mac Jones. And having played in the West Coast offense in Philly, and it's very quarterback friendly. Yeah, athleticism. You look at it started with Joe and Steve and Brett and John Elway and Patrick Mahomes. You look at Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. If you look at the guys that have had in this offense, basically, and Skip was like, why did Kyle Shanahan just move up to the 3 spot? Wouldn't you be better served moving up to the 2 spot? Kyle Shanahan basically thinks like his dad. I'll take who you don't want, ain't gonna beat you.
That's what's gonna happen.
That's how he thinks.
Okay.
Skip,
I love that. But you better be right.
You better be right. Skip, when I look at Mac Jones' numbers, Mac Jones versus 5 teams that ended the season in the top 5, he averaged 406 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He had a better completion percentage, yards per game, yards per attempt, QBR, more touchdowns, and only 1 more interception than Zach Wilson while playing in the SEC. We saw Zach Wilson against Coastal Carolina, 17 points, his lowest QBR of the season, 240 pass yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Mac Jones is plenty athletic enough. He doesn't have the blazing speed, probably, I know he doesn't, of Justin Fields or Trey Lance, but he's mobile enough.
He is.
Mike, you don't need to have Michael Vick speed to play in the West Coast. You just need to be mobile enough. They're going to run the football. They're going to roll you. They're going to do some bootlegs and have the accuracy. He's the most accurate quarterback in this draft, and I think that's what Kyle Shanahan is attracted to. He reminds you of a more athletic Kirk Cousins. If you could picture that, Mike, that's what he reminds you of. His accuracy, how the ball gets out of his hands, and we know what Mike and Kyle thought of Kirk Cousins.
They did. I mean, he loved him. I think he loved him more than he loved RG3.
He did. He wasn't going to take Cousins in the first round, but he felt he could get him in the second or third round and not have to give up that bundle of what they gave up.
Okay, to Michael's point, first about Justin Fields. This is what I know about Justin Fields. I believe of all 5 of these top quarterbacks, he can get the hottest because what he did to a Brent Venables Clemson defense was off the charts. He became unstoppable and threw 6 touchdown passes against a Clemson that just doesn't allow that kind of salvo, where you just get blown off the field. So I believe on heat factor, he can get hotter than anybody, including Trevor Lawrence. He also had 2 bad games. So I think his pro football legacy is about to be he'll get hot and have some big games, and occasionally he'll have an off game. Because he had an off game against Indiana and threw 3 picks, and then he just had a bad day at the office against Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game and went 12 of 27 for nothing and had a QBR of 33 on a scale of 0 to 100. So I can't defend those 2 games, and maybe you'll have to live with an occasional game, and maybe if it is the Shanahans who pick him, they'll clean some of that up, that they'll put him in positions to not have those kind of off games. His quote-unquote bad games won't be as bad as they were at Ohio State. Okay. Now, I got to ask Michael this one. The more I watch Trey Lance just in YouTube highlights, the more I fall in love with him. Maybe I'm being prisoner of YouTube highlights because I didn't watch a single televised game that Trey Lance played for North Dakota State. But, Michael, I look at the numbers. I know it's a small sample size of 16 games in 2019, 28 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, ran for 1,011 yards. What? And just scored touchdowns with his legs like crazy, where he just running over DBs. He just clocking people in the secondary. And to me, at 6'4", 225, he just might be the star of stars in this draft. And now Pro Football Focus has him falling all the way to Belichick at number 15. You did not mention him. What's your gut feeling on what you see or hear or feel about Trey Lance?
Hey, Skip, when I said a surplus of quarterbacks, Lance was definitely in that category with those guys. And, I look at him as a gem. He's going to be a steal. He's one of the guys. And like I say, they can go anywhere. If the Jacksonville Jaguars like Trey Lance and they felt like he could be the guy to match their system and go with their personnel, then why not take him? You can't lose. It's pretty much a take your pick draft. And like I say, these guys are scratching their heads because these guys are so good and so talented. I look at Lance and I see a little bit of Patrick Mahomes in him. It was a guy who kind of came out of nowhere in the draft and strong arm, can move, and looked like he understands the game of football. So, this is probably one of the best drafts that we're going to see in a long time. And in the long term, these guys are going to be beneficiaries, of some of the best coaching and some of the best opportunities that the game can offer. So they're in a great spot as the game continues to, evolve, and their skill sets fits the prototype and the mold of what needs to be happening out on the field right now. And that's guys who can get away and pass the football.
Yeah. So, Michael, speaking of that, you were obviously, to me, the most mobile quarterback in the history of pro football. And yet, we just saw a 43-year-old quarterback who is as immobile as any who's ever played, who ran the ugliest looking 40-yard dash at the combine in the history of the league, talking about Tom Brady, obviously, stand in the pocket and pick apart defense after defense, Washington, New Orleans, Green Bay. Kansas City and win another Super Bowl. So it's the age of mobility. Even Patrick Mahomes, I think he weighs like 240, and he can flat out move. He has maybe more quickness than speed, but he can escape like crazy. Okay, so how important is mobility when we saw the 43-year-old just stand still and beat everybody?
It's only one Tom Brady.
Yep.
You know, it's truly one of one. There's only one Peyton Manning. You know, those guys are truly one of ones in their, you know, in their own echelon, in their own lineage. And look, when you have the type of coaching that Tom has with Bruce Arians and Brian Leftwich, and you know, bring three guys together who understands the game of football with one of the best passes of the football ever to play the game, you're going to be able to stand in the pocket and not have to do a lot, because their concepts are going to beat you continuously through and throughout the season. And as they continue to play that chess match with you, you're just going to be one step behind, because Tom knows what it takes to win championships. He knows what it takes to win in the regular season, in the postseason, and how to get you in the Super Bowl if you're not on your toes. And then that won't change. And they'll look the same this year, and it could be exact duplication of what they did last year.
Well, I think the thing is, but are you going to tell me that Tom Brady's only going to get hit one time in a 65 play game? Well, that style works, but more times than not, Mike, you know you're going to have to make plays outside of the pockets, because guess what? The defensive line and the linebackers are getting faster. They're getting more athletic, and you need something to compensate for that. So you need a more athletic quarterback. That's why you see the league kind of morphing towards the more athletic quarterback and getting away from the statue. Now, if you just stand up and protect Tom, he'll pick you apart. But we've seen when teams can get that pressure up on him, he looks a different quarterback than what we saw in the Super Bowl. That's not to take away from it, but most quarterbacks have that problem.
Yeah.
This is what Tom going to do. Tom going to get hit. He going to get knocked around, but he going to get right back up with that fire in his ass. And the more you hit him and the more you knock him down, the more...
No, Mike, you know what he's going to do. He's going to get knocked down and he's going to turn and look at the referee. Mike, you know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to get hit. He's going to turn and look to the referee.
And I seen the Chicago Bears beat him up.
He earned that right to do that.
You see, even Skip know what he's going to do. So he earned the right.
Earns it. Mike, we appreciate you joining us. It was good to get your take on that.
No mercy.
Hall of Famer Gary Payton is the latest to weigh in on the MJ versus LeBron debate. The 9-time All-NBA player said that he views LeBron as an all-around better player, quote, by far. The Gloves said LeBron does a better job passing, dribbling, and rebounding, while MJ had the advantage shooting. So, Shannon, does he have a point here?
He does. I mean, I've been saying this. I think everybody knows this. And this is coming from Gary Payton, the Glove, who saw Jordan up close and personal in his prime. And Gary Payton, Skip, we don't need to talk about defense because he could play it. Now, we keep talking about Patrick Beverly playing defense, all these other guys. This was a true guy that could guard. And he could really get up in the guys. But as GP said, he's a better creator. He's a better passer. He's a better rebounder. He's a better facilitator of the offense. And, Skip, I think we throw it out a lot of times in baseball. You say, he's a 5-tool guy. And I think a lot of times when we say, he can guard 1 through 5, we throw that term around loosely. But this is what we know. We've seen LeBron James. The year Derrick Rose won the MVP, we saw LeBron James take him in the playoffs and shut him down. You remember the game they lost the first game, the second year go-around, to the Spurs. They lost game 1. LeBron James took Tony Parker moving forward. And then in game 7, the last 5 minutes of the ball game, supposed to say, LeBron, you got Tim Duncan. That's what he can do. That's when I say you guard 1 through 5. You go to point to the center. He could do that. We saw Jordan struggle against big guards. He couldn't do anything with Magic. Scottie Pippen took Magic. You remember game 1, his first finals. Magic had a triple-double. They won. They put Scottie Pippen on him. He hounded Magic for 94 feet. Changed the whole complexion of the series. We know that, Skip. That's not to diminish Mike. Skip, you can be good at, look. I wasn't as complete a tight end as Gronk. That doesn't diminish me. Gronk can block better than I could. That's okay. That doesn't take anything away from me to accentuate what he did. I think sometimes if you say, well, this guy can do this better than that guy, it's almost like you're knocking the other guy. Michael Jordan is historically great. Very few guys have been able to score the ball like he can. He's an assassin. But if you just look at it, Jordan had averaged more points, but LeBron averaged more rebounds, more assists, shot a high percentage from the field, shot a high percentage from the three. It is what it is, Skip. So GP is right on. As an overall player, I believe he's a better player, but as an overall player, complete, Bron has no equal.
The phrase that stuck in my craw was, he is, said Gary Payton, by far.
By far?
By far.
That'd be a long way, right?
That's a long way.
Okay. I didn't make sure we got our terminology correct.
And I think we need to qualify or maybe disqualify Gary Payton out of the Isaiah Thomas mold of having a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of resentment for a guy who kicked your ass.
Skip,
that's
why
what
you
happened.
Do that?
I'm sorry, that's what happened. 1996 finals, 6 games. Michael prevailed. Isaiah got the best of Michael for a while, but when Michael finally grew up and went to the weight room, thanks to the great Tim Grover, his trainer, it was over. And you know what happened in the end?
And Isaiah finally got old. Michael Jordan grew up and Isaiah got old.
Okay, so I will give you this. I've said this from the start. LeBron is definitely a little better passer than Michael was, but Michael just didn't pass. When he wanted to pass, it's not that he couldn't pass, he was a gifted passer. One year, he averaged 8 assists. Is that good? That's pretty great. And it wasn't that Michael couldn't rebound, he just didn't focus on rebounding because one year he averaged 8. So LeBron for his career has averaged 7.4 to Michael's 6.2 in rebounds. Okay, it's not that great a difference.
Skip, but if you average that, that's an extra rebound and a half per game, times 80, times 18. So how many more rebounds does he have?
So how many more inches does he have? He's 6 feet 9 inches tall and weighs what? What are we going to give him now? 260, 270? Michael at his peak, 6'6", 215-ish maybe? Right in there, 210, 215. Okay, so talk about bricks in his pocket. How about bricks in his thighs? How about, I mean, LeBron is a freight train. And to me, his career 7.4 rebounds should be 10-plus rebounds. He should average double-digit rebounds.
Why?
He just didn't focus on it, and nor did Michael.
Skip. But see, the luxury that LeBron did not have that Michael had, Jordan could always have the luxury of just focus on scoring. LeBron had to score 27, go get your 7-8 rebounds, get your 7-8 assists. Jordan had to worry about that.
10 scoring titles to LeBron's 1 scoring title. 10-1.
Skip. Just imagine how many guys win scoring titles when they got to focus on other things. How many scoring titles for Magic? Because Magic not only scored, he had to facilitate the offense.
I know,
it's easier.
But when you can score the basketball better than anybody's ever scored it, that's what you do. Because that's how you're going to win. That propelled them to 6 championships in 6 tries, and he won 6 MVPs.
He did that. But like I said, Skip, LeBron also, Jordan had Pip. He had other guys to rebound. More times than not, LeBron's going to lead the team in assists and points, and he's going to be 1 or 2 in rebounds.
Well, now he's got the best rebounder in basketball, or so you say.
Yeah.
Right? The savior.
But
Andre Drummond.
Skip.
He'll beat you like a drum.
GP is not just talking about, we're talking about a body of work, 18 years. Look at what this man done. Only one time has he not led his team in scoring. He's never not had a situation where he led the team in assists. More times than not, he led the team in scoring and assists. Has Jordan ever done that? One time. One time. All those championships, who was the team that led them in assists? Scottie Pippen. Did he lead him in rebounding? No, he did not.
6 championships in 6 tries. That's all you need to know. Bottom line, game over.
No, Skip, it's good. You can't do that. You can't do that, Skip.
I just did it because everybody does it except you. But here we go. This is what really flipped my switch about what Gary Payton said.
What flipped your switch?
The glove. I'm ready to take off the gloves.
He put his gloves on Jordan.
Yeah.
You remember he put the gloves on him in 96?
He locked him up.
Locked him.
He said, Gary Payton said, that LeBron handles better than Michael handled. That is flat out wrong because even LeBron has been self-deprecating about, I don't have a great handle. He doesn't have a great handle. He's a great passer without a great handle. He's actually too tall to have a great handle. He's too big. He's a shaky three-point and free throw shooter because his hand-eye is not great. That God didn't give him. God gave him a lot of things, but didn't give him that. Michael Jordan had huge hands and a great handle. He obviously wasn't the point guard, but he was a flawless handler of the basketball. Most of it was in creating his own shot as opposed to distributing and creating other shots.
Neither guy has Steph Curry, Kyrie, handles like that.
Okay.
Harden.
But Michael, you're underrating if you say that LeBron has a better handle. Check back the quotes. You can find quote after quote from LeBron. He will scoff at himself when it comes to handling the basketball.
Yeah, but Skip, because he looks at what the guys can do with the basketball now, the way they can dance with the basketball and have it like as a yo-yo. I mean, you probably didn't play with yo-yos, but when I was coming up, yo-yos were a big thing. And so, we had,
Duncan yo-yo?
Yeah. I used to walk the dog with it. I used to do all that with it, around the world like 4 or 5 times with it. So LeBron is looking at, I don't have handles like Kyrie. I don't have handles like Steph and Dame and James Harden. Them guys just pat it and just sit down with it like that. No. But Skip, as an overall player, come on, Skip, we can agree. It's okay.
Okay, so if the conclusion is LeBron can do more things a little better than Michael, I've given you that from the start. But in the end, Michael did one thing way better than LeBron. He could score it, and he could drive a team to victory the way LeBron can't. He was the mentally toughest player versus one of the mentally weaker superstars I have ever closely observed.
Use that. You can't say that. You can't say that, Skip.
Michael had no flameouts like the 2011 meltdown that LeBron suffered against the Dallas
Mavericks. It was funny that you mentioned that. I'm looking at these 3 games in the 96 finals, in which Game 4, Michael Jordan went 6 of 19. In Game 6, to close that game, which they won.
Steph-like.
Whoa. To close our game, they won that ball game. He went 5 of 19. And in the final 3 games, Michael Jordan was 1 of 3 from 9. Now, you just killed Steph Curry. You just killed it.
You meant 1 of 9 from 3.
From 3.
Okay. You said 1 of 3 from 9.
1 of 9 from 3.
He might have tried him from 9. I don't know. Did they have a 9-point shot? I don't know.
But let you tell it, Michael Jordan can shoot better than Steph from 3.
I didn't say that.
You will.
They didn't even feature the 3-point shot.
It didn't feature. It got nothing to do with it. Steph Curry made them feature it. Yeah.
Who was the MVP of that finals? Help me out.
Should have been Scottie Pippen.
Oh, it was Jordan.
Should have been Scottie Pippen.
It should not have been Scottie Pippen. No, nobody said that except you.
Should have been Scottie Pippen.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you make it seem like somebody's won Finals MVP in which LeBron has won over LeBron. I know you tried to give it to Kyrie that year they beat the Warriors. Talking about Kyrie should have been MVP.
Was that not the shot of shots?
So somebody win the MVP on one shot.
No, I never said Kyrie was the MVP. I just said he made the shot. He closed the deal.
We created the shot.
You did not create the shot. He danced and created his own shot.
The shot would have never happened without the block. You forget now, Skip, we was down. We was down at 7 points, and LeBron scored all 7 to tie it up.
It's the most overrated block in block history.
Nah.
It is.
It's the equivalent of Malcolm Butler's interception.
Really?
It's the equivalent.
Oh, wait. Did somebody cut in front before Malcolm Butler cut to pick off the pass?
Brandon Brown had to do the jack move at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, did he? Yep. I just remember J.R. Smith undercutting Iguodala and stopping him in his tracks so that he was about to dunk it and he had to slow down and say, "Oh, I better shoot this off the glass." And LeBron caught up.
LeBron would have dunked it.
Blindside.
LeBron would have dunked it. LeBron would have went down and still dunked it.
Sneak attack. Way to go, LeBron.
But you won't talk about where he came from.
Yeah.
You won't talk about where he came from. You do realize he came from the other side of the base.
No mercy. Well, Steph Curry continued his hot streak in Philly last night. He followed up his 47-point game against the Celtics with 49 points and 10 three-pointers in a 107-96 win over Joel Embiid and the 76ers. Curry's performance was, quote, mind-boggling, according to Steve Kerr. And Steph got Twitter buzzing all night about his MVP case, including Magic Johnson, who said Steph left no doubt who the real MVP is tonight. Those are some words from Magic. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard is now joining us. Chris, is Magic right here?
I don't know what Magic's talking about. I'm sorry. With all due respect to the greatest point guard in history, if by being in the conversation, then we're saying Steph's in that, sure. Okay, we've been in the conversation. But legitimate chance right now of winning the MVP? No way. Not as the 9th seed. I'm sorry. The only way Steph can really get in this conversation is if he keeps playing this way the rest of the season. So basically averaging 40 over the rest of the season, and they somehow get up to the 5th seed right behind Denver. Or maybe Denver falls to 5th and Steph gets Golden State to 6 and they're close. Maybe then. But no way as the 9th seed. Right now I got Nikola Jokic. He's 26 points a game, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 40% shooting from 3, leads the league in PER. Denver is the 4th seed. They won 3 straight without Jamal Murray. And Jokic has played every single game. So I'm going with him right now. Look, Steph is on fire. He's the greatest shooter of all time. He's the greatest small player of all time. He's playing phenomenal. But Michael Jordan averaged 37 points a game one year, didn't win MVP. Kobe Bryant averaged 35 points, scored 81 one night, 62 another night, 6 games of 50 or more points that season, and finished 4th in MVP voting because they were the 7th seed, which is better than Golden State is right now. James Harden averaged 36 and more assists and rebounds than Steph's average. Didn't win MVP. So, no, winning counts. Winning is important. It's not the only thing, but winning counts in this voting, and they just haven't won enough.
Do you want to? Go ahead, Skip.
Well, I thought you were going to go.
Because about me,
Okay, all right, I'll go.
echoed everything I said.
Okay, so that makes you right.
you go echo everything I said, too.
Yes.
Okay, to Chris's point, there are 14 games remaining.
14.
We have just seen Steph Curry produce the hottest shooting streak in the history of professional basketball. There's never been anything like what he just did for 6 games, or if you want to go 10 games through the month of April, because no one has shot from this distance, this accurately, this consistently for this span of games. But obviously, we can't be, the phrase I think I invented back in cold pizza days, prisoner of moment. We can't be prisoner of April, but we could be prisoner of April and May because, to Chris's point, if you just keep on keeping on, at some point, Shannon and I are going to have to come in here some morning and sit back and say, well, I think we got to start having this conversation.
It would help if he got into the playoffs.
It would help. And yet, Dame is out now in Portland with a hamstring. I think everybody's pulled their hamstring. I don't know. Maybe everybody's just on ice waiting for the playoffs to start. But the point is, the hardest game they had left was the Golden State was the one they just played. So could they win out? It's possible they could win out. They're on such a roll right now. If Steph stayed on this roll and they won out, and to Chris's point, you vault up to at least the 6th seed, you replace Portland as a 6th seed, yeah, I think we'd have to have this conversation because, I don't know, maybe Jokic is going to be on ice here for a few games because they're going to need to start resting him. Maybe Embiid starts resting for the rest of their games. I don't know. It's between those two. I have Embiid slightly ahead, but to Chris's point, Jokic was so huge in double overtime last night.
He was a monster.
He edged ahead in PER for the year. Embiid is so incredible from the free throw line. He is simply the greatest 7-foot or taller free throw shooter we've ever seen in the history of this league, proving it yet again last night. He shot the most free throws in the league. He's making 86% of his free throws. That's off the charts. That's in Steph territory from 3, what he's doing from the free throw line at his height and size. But the point is that I need to see more because if we look at body of work pre-April 1st, man, Steph had played 40 games before April, and he was averaging 40.9% from 3. That was on pace to be his worst three-point shooting year of his career. Mm-hmm. So you can't give me MVP off that. So now he caught fire, and he's all the way up to 43.1. Well, it's not even his career average, which is 43.4. Right now, he ranks 13th in three-point shooting in the league. Well, that's not very good because if we're talking MVP, you're looking at Joe Ingles at 49% and Marcus Morris is at 48.1 and Joe Harris, who can just shoot the lights out, 47.7. So there are a lot of shooters to this moment who are shooting better for the year than Steph did. So, I'm sorry, but I will give you greatest hot stretch of shooting we've ever seen, but I can't give you MVP yet.
Yeah, that's what I agree with everything you guys said. Like I said, and sometimes we get caught up because the ooh and ah factor is so great. The way he's dancing, pulling up, they're coming with the double team. He sees the double team. He lets it go from 30 before he gets there, Skip, and he swishes it. So down the stretch, 20 points. He didn't miss from 3. He missed the 1 free throw that would have given him 50, Chris. He's been spectacular. But damn, doesn't have to mean something to win the ball games?
They're a 500 team right now.
500 team. 500. And, you know, the biggest mistake baseball made is when they gave the MVP to Andre Dawson on a dead last team. Skip it. How good is his numbers? They can't be that good. You finished dead last. And they did that one year with Levon Hernandez, Felix Hernandez. He won the Cy Young. What a loser. Come on, man. You got at least have a winning record. Mm-hmm. Nah, look, Steph is unbelievable. You guys know this.
Go ahead, Shannon.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying, at least have a winning record. Then we can talk. But you're the 9th seed. You need to be at least 4th or 5th. If I'm not mistaken, Chris, Russ was like, when Russ averaged that triple-double, Russ was like, what, the 4th seed? I think he was the 4th seed that year.
I think they were even lower. Look, since media started voting for the award in 1981, only twice, I believe, has anybody outside the top 3 seeds won the award. That was Moses Malone in 81 or 82, right when the media started voting. Right. And then Russell, because he averaged a triple-double. Had we known he was going to average a triple-double every other year, maybe he wouldn't have won either. But it was historical, so you had to give it to him. But I think, too, you brought up baseball, Shannon. Baseball's different.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, a guy can hit 420, and if he doesn't have the pitching or doesn't have hitting around him, he's not going to win. In basketball, one guy can have a much greater impact. So to your point, the winning is a huge part of this award.
Yeah. Like you're right. The reason why they started doing that because the players hated Wilt because Wilt would have won it every year, and the players used to vote for the MVP, and they hated Wilt, so they really never wanted to vote for him. Even when he averaged 50 and 25, he didn't win the MVP. But I agree with you, Chris. I just think the thing is I love what I'm seeing from Steph, and it's unbelievable. And I think sometimes, Chris, you probably go through this a lot on your social media because you say somebody doesn't deserve the MVP, you're a hater. No, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not playing exceptionally well. I'm just saying that he hasn't put his team in position enough to win enough ball games that he should be considered the MVP at this point. Not to say we got 14 games. Now, the likelihood, Skip, of them going 14-0, I don't know if anybody's won 14 games straight this season. I don't see that happening. But if he were to somehow, by hook or crook, get to the 4th or the 5th seed, let's have a conversation. But I've had Nikola Jokic since everybody went down. As the number one, if my MVP, if I had one, he would be my guy, and he's done nothing to disappoint me since Jamal Murray went out.
You want to know the truth about Steph's year? If you look at the whole body of work, seriously, he's actually had a disappointing year until April. And April went crazy off the charts into the stratosphere. But if you look hard at all the off nights he's had 8 bad shooting nights pre-April. They should be better. Just because of him, they should be better than a 500 team.
Right.
All right, interesting. Chris, thank you. Thanks for your time today.
No mercy.
Peter King joined the Eagle Eye podcast recently and said that when Philly drafted Jalen Hurts, he was, quote, mind-boggled by the reaction of Carson Wentz. King went on to say that Wentz didn't handle the situation well and contrasted it to how well Tom Brady played after the Patriots drafted Jimmy Garoppolo in 2014, winning 2 more Super Bowls in New England and an MVP. So, Shannon, does Peter King have a point here?
He does. Carson could have handled it better, but Carson Wentz handled it like every other quarterback has handled it. What Peter King did not tell you, that when Coach Belichick wanted to make the move to Jimmy Garoppolo, Tom Brady went upstairs and asked Mr. Kraft to move Jimmy G out of the building. Now Peter King didn't mention that because Seth Wickersham wrote a very compelling story that you and we discussed ad nauseum on here what Tom Brady did.
It wasn't ad nauseum. It was great.
We talked about it every day. I love talking about it. I love because I saw the look on your face. You hated it. That's why you had it there for Coach Belichick. You had never forgiven him since either. Had you know that.
What would you have done? You would have gone upstairs too. It was either him or me. It was like he wanted to push Tom out the back door, and he finally got his wish 3 years later.
This blows up. But, Skip, we know the relationship that Joe Montana, how many Super Bowls had Joe Montana won when they brought Steve Young in there? And it was a very contentious relationship. We saw the relationship that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. Skip, I was there when they took Tommy Maddox with the first pick in 1992 with John Elway. And I know how that rubbed him. So the way Carson Wentz behaved is not unnatural that any other quarterback in the history of time that's been any good have reacted. I mean, they make it seem like Carson Wentz did something that no other quarterback in the history of time that's been started, that's been, he was considered a franchise quarterback, behaved. We saw the relationship. Steve Young mentioned the relationship with him and Joe. They butted heads. Yes, Tom handled it because he didn't view Jimmy as a threat. The moment he saw Jimmy G as a threat, somehow he found his way upstairs. He had never been upstairs, hadn't been upstairs before because he get direct deposit. Skip, I didn't get direct deposit. I need to get my check, put it in my hand, put that money right there. So,
I'm sure he went upstairs, or did he just go to his house?
He went upstairs.
Yeah.
That when somebody saw him too, like, what Tom going upstairs? He don't never go upstairs to talk to Coach Belichick, so I know he ain't going there. Only one other person got an office upstairs that Tom would be going. Didn't think anybody saw it. They saw it. So,
okay, but that was in 2017.
Yes.
He was drafted, Garoppolo, in 2014.
Yes.
So Peter King's point is, in 2014, Tom could have thrown a fit. Like, what are you doing? I'm 37 and you're trying to push me out the back door. You're trying to push me into retirement. And instead, Brady said, no, watch this. I'll show you how a competitor reacts. That's what Peter King wrote.
So he's such a competitor. Why did he go upstairs if he's such a competitor?
Okay, but that was 3 years later.
But he did it.
Okay, but he went out and won an MVP, and then he won 2 Super Bowls. And speaking of 2017, he got him to the Super Bowl and threw for a playoff record, not just a Super Bowl, playoff record, 505. And Belichick's defense gave up 41 to the backup quarterback of the Eagles, and they lost 41 to 33.
You and Peter make my point even more.
No.
Think about this, Skip. He had won 2 Super Bowls. He had won an MVP of the regular season. He should have been more convinced that I'm the guy. So he should have never had to worry about Jimmy G replacing him. So why would he need, even after all of that?
Say to me every day, you got to update that resume.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't just update it. He uplifted it up into the stratosphere where it was untouchable.
And still felt a need to go tell Mr. Kraft to get Jimmy G out of the building.
Okay,
why would he need to do that?
That was the flashpoint when he was going to elevate Jimmy G into the starting role. And at some point, you got to say yes or no. And that's a big no for Brady. I don't want to be here.
Okay. Well,
it's him or me.
That's what Carson Wentz said. Sooner or later, Jalen Hurts, I don't want to be here.
Okay, but he didn't go out and say, watch what I do. He didn't even try. He immediately threw a fit.
Oh,
okay?
I don't, Skip. Carson Wentz is the reason. Look, if you stayed healthy, had you played better, they wouldn't have took Jalen Hurts.
And that was his point. Peter King says that he was all in on Jalen Hurts just because of availability. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Carson Wentz had finally played in a playoff game against Seattle at home, and he lasted like
man, Janae McCloud, the cheap shot at that man. You know that.
4 plays.
Skip, you said it. He hit the man behind the head. You know that.
He completed 1 pass. That's all he's got on his playoff resume is 1 completion.
Yeah, you know the man got cheap shot. Skip, look. But my only problem is that Peter's been around the game long enough to know this is how, Skip, you know quarterbacks have the biggest ego. You know they're the most sensitive.
I got it, but when you do Montana Young, Joe was so up there in years that he was not able to respond as a competitor to Steve Young because it was clear his performance was starting to fade. So if he had gone out and won the MVP and they'd won another Super Bowl, then you can't push him into the sunset.
Skip,
you can't trade him.
They brought Steve there, Skip, in 87.
No, it took a while.
Joe won the MVP, won a back-to-back Super Bowls, 88, 89, and was the MVP.
Update your resume, and he wasn't able in the end, and they said, we're going to trade you because we think you're finished.
And that's what
And he did, to his credit. He went to Kansas City and at least got them into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Got them all the way to the championship game.
Okay, that's what Brady did. That's what Coach Belichick said. Brady, update your resume.
Okay. Well, he updated it with an MVP and should have been 3 Super Bowl championships.
No, he shouldn't have.
Well, you know that.
No.
They should have won that game.
No.
Well, and Garoppolo was still there all along that trail. And finally, Belichick wanted to go with Garoppolo. And it took the owner slapping him on the wrist and saying, no, you will trade Jimmy G.
Okay.
Or it would have cost them more.
And how did this come about? Somebody had to go upstairs.
No mercy.
A warrant has been issued for newly signed Seahawks defensive end Aldon Smith in Louisiana on a second-degree battery charge. The alleged incident happened on Saturday, just 2 days after signing his new contract. Smith has missed multiple seasons due to off-field incidents over the course of his career. So, Shannon, what was your reaction when you heard this?
Well, Skip, it was sad. You know, I'm hoping that it's not true, but the report is not very good. And as you read it, it's like, it was an acquaintance of his, so obviously the person knew Aldon, and it happened. And what I'm trying to, was it the victims? Was it his coffee shop, or were they in a coffee shop and this confrontation took place? But it reported like he choked a man unconscious.
That's what it said. That's the police report.
I'm like,
that's how it became second degree.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know about Louisiana, they don't play. They see you down there in Angola, and, you know, hey, we check back on you in a little while. A little while, normally like 10 years. I think this is an 8 year if he's convicted. Skip, I hope it's not true. I really do. Because it seemed like he had really turned his life around. He was really getting on the right track. Like you said, Jenny and the Reed, he had been away from football for 4.5, 5 years. And it seemed that, you know, found some tracks and found a footing. With the Cowboys, he played okay last year. Got another chance to go play with Seattle, and this happens. Skip, I just hope he can get this thing, get his life resolved, get it worked out again.
So our man Jay Glazer has sworn by and vouched for Aldon Smith. That's why I was rooting so strongly for him. It's obviously my team, the Cowboys. And I thought he had a very good start to the year. Not a great finish. He kind of hit the wall, but that's what happens when, as you know, you've been out of the game for 5 years. And you get off to a pretty hot start because he had 3 sacks against Seattle, at Seattle in week 3. Then he had 1 more sack the rest of the way and became a little bit of a forgotten man in the defensive front. So Seattle liked what it saw, so Seattle signed him for
Seattle tried to trade for him at the trade deadline.
They did. And they signed basically to the same deal Dallas had, which ended up paying him about $1.5 million with his incentives. So they're not on the hook for a whole lot of money.
Right.
But this came out of the blue and shocked me. And my first thought was, I hope it's an Aaron Donald situation where we find out when the truth fully comes out that he's exonerated somehow. Then at least the police report said it was a coffee shop as opposed to a bar or club. Something.
Sometimes it just finds you. They ain't got to, you know, sometimes they just find you.
Yeah. And it was an acquaintance, which was odd to me, said the police report. Where did they get in an argument that escalated?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to, like I said, Skip, I don't know that they put whipped cream on his frappuccino, or I mean, his chai latte. I don't know what it's. I mean, it's just sad. I hope it's not true. I really do, Skip. I really hope this was a misunderstanding or something. But it just doesn't look good, Skip.
But the issue that Aldon Smith is facing is
his history.
His behavior was so bad for so long.
Yes, he had very erratic behavior.
On zero tolerance.
Yes.
So if there's any merit to the case against him, to the warrant that's out for his arrest, I'm pretty sure he's going to have some issues with the commissioner's office. Because
the difference between here and Aaron Donald is because Aaron Donald had no prior history.
No.
Aaron Donald's reputation was impeccable. So he's going to receive the benefit of the doubt. Aldon Smith, I don't know if he necessarily gets that benefit of the doubt, given his history. And as you mentioned, sometimes he has displayed erratic behavior. So he loses kind of that benefit of the doubt that Aaron Donald received. But let's just see how it plays out, and then we'll go from there, Skip.
We will see how it plays out. It's one of those stories when you read it, my heart just sank because we have been talking about him and just rooting him on in his return. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. And at this point, that's all we know.
No mercy.
All right, Andre Drummond faced Rudy Gobert last night and mustered just 8 points in a 111-97 loss to the Jazz. Drummond now has 3 single-digit scoring games in his last 4 outings. So, Shannon, did you lose any faith in the Lakers' savior, Andre Drummond, last night?
No, because he's not going to be. Look, I'm not counting on Andre Drummond to give us 20 points like he did on Saturday. The ball wouldn't fall. I mean, a lot of the shots that he was making on Saturday, Skip, they just wouldn't go in last night. So I'm not worried about it, but help is on the way.
Did you see what Rudy Gobert did to the Lakers savior last night? We got to see this.
Oh.
Here he is, the Lakers savior. Oh, he fell down. That's the most embarrassing moment any Laker has suffered all year long. We got to see that again. Here he is, the big penguin. Oh, he goes down.
Skip.
He goes down. Look at this.
Okay.
Is that not embarrassing?
Help is on the way.
Is that your man?
There's a great chance that AD will be back on Thursday or Friday, and you know, GOAT.
Is this Kareem Abdul-Drummond? Wait.
Baby
Gobert beat him like a Drummond.
Baby go, Cubby. Baby go and big go.
You should see him fall down. He's got to crawl back on defense.
It's like you tell me.
Terrible.
Have that energy in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I want you to have that same energy.
Poor penguin. Okay.
You laughing now, but your day coming. Your day coming, Skip.
Oh, I got to see that. I'm going to go home and just watch that all night.
How many times have we played this?
I can't wait till we get a hold of you know who.
Skip, you've been waiting.
We're going to kick them old basement dwellers. We're going to kick those. We're going to kick them out.
Look, one more time.
We've seen it enough.
What are you doing?
Now he drank. Oh, now you going. Now you drink.
Shannon, what did you say?
Now he drank.
He's on the way. That is it for Undisputed. We're back same time tomorrow morning. The Herd is next. Have a good one.